Will Raja Jackson be arrested from what you're hearing?
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. Everything's on tape, on video. It's premeditated. Just LAPD tends to drag their feet.
SykoStu is suing. Is he suing Raja specifically, or who is he suing specifically?
I know from a decent source that there are lawyers involved, but that was on the internet. I think it was X posted it, and then a couple other ones.
He's posted a couple things, but the most recent one I thought was the most telling. He posted a very long statement on his Instagram, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. You've seen it. You can go. He's talking more about the reaction, and I know. And by the way, let's call it like it is. Like, there's been a lot of, I can't even imagine the racist stuff that has been thrown his way and his son's way. One should have nothing to do with the other. Like, get that out of here.
Doug Malo, a close friend of SykoStu, and the man who stepped in during the altercation with Roger Jackson, has confirmed that an investigation is already underway and that Jackson's arrest is expected very soon. Malo explained that detectives informed him Raja will likely be taken into custody within the next few days, pointing out that the entire incident was caught on camera and clearly shows intent. He acknowledged that while the LAPD can sometimes move at a slower pace, the focus of the investigation is strictly on Raja, not himself or anyone else. According to Malo, authorities are currently reviewing multiple video sources to ensure they have a complete and well-documented case before moving forward.
So what can you tell us from those conversations that you've had? Any updates? Will Raja Jackson be arrested from what you're hearing?
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. Everything's on tape, on video. It's premeditated. Just LAPD tends to drag their feet. So the detective asked me a bunch of questions. I even asked about my implications, just because it's, you're involved and whatnot. And he goes, no, there's nothing to worry about. Like, you're just trying to get compliance. Everything was towards Raja. He asked a couple other questions about the other videos involved with the people in the back and this and that. Not for implications, just because he's just trying to get information. He's building a solid case.
Doug Malo shared that detectives informed him the LAPD was intentionally moving carefully as they built the case. He mentioned that officials already had sufficient evidence and witness testimony for the state to proceed, but investigators were zeroing in on whether there was clear premeditation involved. Malo added that detectives even questioned him about the context of certain conversations and phrases, seeking to fully understand their meaning before finalizing the case.
The detective I talked to outside of the case, just asked him about formalities, what I should look at, what not to look at. He was saying that this is just how LAPD works. They drag their feet. So they're building the case right now. They get all the evidence. The state's going to pick it up because there's so many people, so many witnesses. Heck, even my little brother saw it. My girlfriend, my mom, all the kids that saw it, all the people there. So that right there, they have the evidence enough to try the case. And then what they're trying to figure out is what level of premeditation is, from my understanding, is why he's trying to figure out what conversations took place, what conversations mean. He was asking me what specific terms mean exactly, and like what they mean to the person they're telling them to.
Doug Meir disclosed that attorneys are already engaged in the matter and expressed his strong belief that Stuart Smith will be taking legal action against Roger Jackson. He explained that, according to trusted sources, a lawsuit is very likely and the legal process has essentially already begun.
SykoStu is suing. Is he suing Raja specifically, or who is he suing specifically?
I know from a decent source that there are lawyers involved, but that was on the internet. I think it was X posted it, and then a couple other ones.
But is this confirmed, for a fact from your source, right?
That there's lawyers involved.
Is there any idea of who he's suing?
I think their first name starts with an R and their last name's Jackson.
Yeah, we know that there are lawyers involved, so let the process play out, and then we'll know it by ear. But I can say there's a high probability of that.
That's what's gonna happen to Raja?
Yeah.
That literally sounded like a jail door.
Straight to jail.
Yep. Doug Malo opened up about the toll the ordeal has taken on him, admitting it brought a lot of stress and frustration. He said his real focus is moving past the controversy and elevating his wrestling career with the goal of signing to a major promotion. Malo also pointed out how rumors and speculation often overshadow the facts, leaving him caught in the middle. For now, he believes the smartest move is to stay quiet and keep pushing forward, emphasizing that he never wanted to be part of this situation. He only stepped in to stop what became an attempted attack.
This happened. You've gotten a lot of positive attention, Doug. What's next for you as far as in wrestling and just in general? What are your plans moving forward?
I don't know now. I want to get to an upper echelon and I want to be somewhere and I don't want to sit here and have to deal with all this drama anymore. I feel like I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. If I say how I feel or just tell the truth, you know what I mean? I don't know. It gives me a bunch of anxiety dealing with this whole situation. I want to get signed. I want to go somewhere. I'm cool with AEW, MLW, WWE, anywhere, right? But all of this leaves it up for everyone to speculate on, and the truth always gets buried. You know what I mean? And then years later, it might come out and it's oh, that was the truth. They were right. They were this, right? But I feel right now, it's the best thing for me to do is just shut myself in a room and be quiet because this is a lot. I didn't ask for any of this shit. All I did was break up a fight or attempted murder. It's a lot.
Bradshaw Layfield didn't hold back when speaking about Roger Jackson's actions, stressing that what happened went far beyond a typical fight. He made it clear that Raja alone should be held accountable, while also expressing concern for Rampage Jackson, who ended up caught in the middle of the controversy. Layfield emphasized that striking someone who is already unconscious crosses a serious moral line and shows a lack of basic human decency.
Attempted murder. There's no other way to describe it. And I'm gonna give you some caveats about what could have been done, but I want to make it very clear. This is 100% Raja Jackson's fault. 100%. The fault and the blame lies 100% with this man. I feel sorry for Rampage. He seems like a really good guy. His son had a concussion. We can talk about that in a minute. And that he should have been there to put him in that situation, which is, I think, correct. But 100% of this blame goes on Raja. No matter what happens here, once this guy's out, the fight's over. If it is a fight, the guy didn't know he was in a fight. So forget about the fact that, the guy was thought he was working and, he knocks him out. But at that point, it's just attempted murder. You're hitting, I don't care what happens. I don't care if it just happened in the back. A guy's down and out and you just keep punching him. There's no call for that.
Ariel Helwani also blasted Raja Jackson, calling the whole incident nothing short of reckless. He labeled Raja's actions as flat-out foolish and argued that whatever punishment comes his way will be fully justified. Helwani added that, despite how serious the situation appeared, he was surprised no legal action had been taken against Raja yet, considering the sheer recklessness of what happened.
An absolute shitstorm of stupidity. Just even calling it a shitstorm of stupidity is being kind. And it starts with Raja himself. What he did and the way he acted was absolutely insane. He deserves anything that is going to come his way, and as of now, it's nothing. As of now, he hasn't been charged, he hasn't been arrested, he hasn't been anything. And I don't know if he's going to be, and far be it for me to sit here and be that was first degree this. And I've seen people weigh in on what it is. I'm no lawyer, I'm no officer. What I know is that it was absolutely stupid what he did.
Ariel Helwani argued that Roger Jackson had no one else to blame but himself, and stressed that accountability would catch up to him sooner or later. He said it was shocking that Raja not only carried out the assault, but also chose to film it and try to justify it afterward. Helwani described the move as reckless and nothing short of self-sabotage.
I don't know what repercussions Raja is going to face, but he is going to have to face repercussions. Whether it's, via the court of law, whether it's via the police, whether it's via the streets, I don't know. But that was crazy, man. You incriminated yourself. You filmed yourself beating the living daylights out of another man. And then you filmed yourself telling the world that you were going to do it, and then you filmed the aftermath of you justifying it. What? Absolute lunacy.
Greg Doucette remarked that Roger Jackson may have put his entire career in jeopardy and possibly faces jail time. He suggested that years of unfair comparisons to his famous father likely fueled resentment that eventually boiled over. According to Doucette, growing up under Rampage's shadow and even facing criticism from within his own family created the kind of pressure that made a situation like this feel almost bound to happen.
So Raja most likely has ended his career, will end up in prison for God knows how long. And so, in my opinion, this is an example of exactly what happens when kids, they lash out. And by kids, I mean adults who are only 25 years of age. Perhaps he's 26. I forget. When you keep on poking the bear, you keep on teasing someone, you keep on belittling them, putting them down, making them feel less than other people, eventually you can't handle it and you don't give two Turks about anything. And so, in my opinion, this was a ticking time bomb. Imagine, you're this kid. You have to live up to your dad's reputation. And all he does is make fun of you, put you down, calls you a bitch, pussy. Eventually, what do you think you're going to do when the wrong person pushes you the wrong way?
Greg Doucette didn't hold back in his criticism of Roger Jackson. He explained that what might have started as a single punch spiraled way out of control, with Raja throwing more than 20 strikes at an already unconscious opponent. Doucette emphasized that once the other fighter stopped defending himself and was clearly hurt, the situation should have ended immediately. By continuing well past that point, Raja crossed from competition into criminal behavior, something that could very well result in jail time.
He gets up on top and he punches him. That was basically the script. And so at this point, I think there's nothing wrong with this. Hey, it was a script. I didn't notice he was unconscious, and so I hit him. Fine. What about the second punch? The third, the fourth, the 10th, the 20th? What about on number 27, when blood is pouring out of the person's head and he hasn't swung back a single time? Do you not think he would know if somebody is defenseless or not? And so I don't care if the guy deserved it or he didn't deserve it. I don't care about any of that stuff. When the person you're beating up is unconscious and can no longer defend themselves, the fight is over. And if you continue to beat that person up, that's when you're in the wrong, and that's when you go to jail.
Greg Doucette described how the scene quickly spiraled into confusion. At first, the other wrestlers thought Raja's outburst might have been part of the performance. But once blood appeared, it became obvious it was no longer staged, and they rushed in to protect SykoStu. Doucette pointed out how rapid Raja's punches came, leaving little time to react. He added that Raja stormed out of the ring in a fit of rage, carrying out exactly what he had threatened beforehand. With the entire assault captured on video, Doucette stressed there's no question about where the blame lies.
Some of the wrestlers, they jump in. I mean, think of it, it's wrestling. Everyone's thinking it's part of the script. And so you're shocked at first. It takes you a few seconds. You know how fast these guys can punch? 20 punches they can put out in about 5 seconds. And so it's happening right before your eyes, but you don't even know. You're thinking it's a script, it's a fight, and then eventually you're thinking, okay, wait, all this blood's coming out. That's not fake blood. And so I gotta jump in there and stop it. And so they eventually stop this fight. He storms out the ring, runs off. And so notice this guy, he's in a rage. He's in a fit of rage. He did exactly what he said he was going to do before the script. And so we literally caught this assault, if we want to call it an assault or an attack or an attempted murder. Call it what you will, but it's caught in 4K. And so we see everything start to finish. And so clearly he's guilty.
Chael Sonnen broke down Raja Jackson's strikes, observing that at first they looked more like stiff stage blows than outright malicious shots. According to Sonnen, Raja initially stuck to what seemed like the planned routine, but then slipped in a punch that had the snap and force of a real MMA strike. From that moment on, Sonnen explained, the performance unraveled. Raja abandoned the script and began throwing with raw emotion, turning the scene into a genuine assault.
Raja get in the ring as part of a wrestling angle that was scripted and planned. You see Raja come in with his wits about him, waits for the right moment, picks up a double leg, just as it was planned. And he's doing this with SykoStu, and SykoStu is letting it play perfectly. Raja then turns him around so that when he brings him down, it's right in the center of the ring, which appears to be very clearly what they agreed and had planned to do. Now, the landing is not great. When Raja brings SykoStu down, it's not great. And Stu lands in a way and he hits the back of his head. And he looks as though he perhaps lost a level of consciousness right then.
On the other hand, Greg Doucette completely rejected Sonnen's perspective. He argued that nobody can genuinely consent to being seriously injured, no matter the agreement beforehand. To illustrate, he used an extreme analogy, saying that even if someone asked to have their arm cut off, it wouldn't suddenly make it acceptable. Doucette stressed that the same principle applies here. Just because the situation started as a staged fight doesn't give Raja the right to continue striking, especially once SykoStu was knocked out and no longer able to protect himself.
They were very stiff shots, not what we would call a working shot. It did not appear that Raja had lost his temper. It did not appear that these were being done out of anger, as much as, all right, I'm going to pick you up, I'm going to spin you in a 180, I'm going to bring you down in the middle of the cage, then just like a cage fight, I'm going to land a punch to either side. Whatever's supposed to happen after that. There was a couple of guys there, a referee, another wrestler, perhaps the boys step in. We'll never know. Because at this point, it appears that Raja marked out for his own gimmick and really begins laying some shots in, but those shots are done out of anger.
Big John McCarthy also weighed in, but his focus was less on Roger and more on Rampage Jackson. He described Quentin as a caring father caught in an unfortunate position, having to watch his son make destructive choices. McCarthy said it was heartbreaking to imagine any parent going through that, pointing out that this is exactly the kind of situation Rampage would never want his child to face.
And he has a completely different take. He's saying, hey, this is staged. I'm sure they agreed to the fight. And so if he wakes up from all of this and says, hey, it was part of the fight, it was scripted, then no problem. It's okay. I totally disagree with it. I don't think that you can consent to being murdered. I feel like you can't consent to that. To the same extent, if I say, hey, my arm is tingling a lot. It's bothering me so much. I don't like it. Somebody cut off my arm. Somebody please cut off my arm. I don't like it. Stop it. And somebody comes up with an axe and cuts off your arm and says, there, I got you, bro. You can't do that. What if bro is on D and was having a bad trip and you just cut off their arm because he asked you to? You can't consent to these things. And so, Chael, no, you can't just say, oh, well, it's a fight and you can do what you want. He consented to this and he couldn't tell he was unconscious. He's a good actor.
Dylan Dennis also shared his thoughts, saying the whole scene didn't resemble a real fight, but rather a staged plan that went completely off track when trust was broken. He suggested that Roger Jackson could be struggling with deeper personal issues, which made the situation feel more tragic than anything else. Dennis even admitted he considered helping him, whether financially or with training. He added that in combat sports, athletes place their safety in each other's hands, and it's the responsibility of both sides to protect that trust, making Roger's actions appear all the more unsettling.
Problem is this: you're looking at it, and people are they're trying to give some type of forgiveness because it's Quentin, not because it's Raja, because it's Quentin. It's Quentin Jackson that is the person that you've got to feel sorry for, okay? In the fact that, he's hooked up in this when he's not the one that took part in this. And that's a sad thing because he's a father and he loves his son. And it's sad to see someone go through something of this magnitude when it's the last thing in the world you would have told your son to go through with.
Dylan Dennis went on to explain that his deep respect for Rampage Jackson made him careful not to be overly critical of Raja, since Rampage is a legend he has always admired. Even so, Dennis made it clear that Raja's behavior was unacceptable, especially at an independent show where performers rely on mutual trust. He pointed out that as a trained martial artist, Roger should have known better than to strike someone who was unable to defend themselves. Dennis stressed that in any controlled environment, actions like this cross the line and only harm the reputation of the sport when such incidents spread online.
He said, hey, come in here, fucking kid, you, I really want to fight you, and then, yeah, beat the shit out of the fucking guy, but it didn't seem like that. He did the prop can, he's saying that, but then he apologized, and, is this kid, I don't know.
Dude had, PTSD, it was
so sad, it's so sad. I was actually going to offer to help him, with money and maybe training, and then he shot on the other guy, he couldn't get the other guy down. He was so it's the guy was letting you work with his body, when you're training and even you pick someone up and sparring, you're not going to slam the guy on his head. That's basically what they're doing in pro wrestling, you know what I mean? Someone's letting you pick them up, and you're not gonna do that. But
Josh Thompson also weighed in, pointing out reports that suggested The promoter may have given Roger Jackson the green light to get physical during the match. According to Thompson, Roger was allegedly told to perform a lift, slam, and a few strikes before others would step in to break it up. But when Roger followed through, no one moved in to stop things. Thompson argued that if this account is true, the promoter dropped the ball by not ensuring the other wrestlers were prepared to intervene quickly and keep the situation under control.
It's like, you don't want to blame Rampage. That's the only reason that I don't want to go too hard on his son, because Rampage is a legend. He's a great guy.
Seems to be kind of like.
Yeah, but like if it wasn't Rampage's son, I'd be like, that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like that shit's fucked up. You know, to do to someone, especially an indie show like that, and you're a martial artist at the end of the day, you know when someone's unconscious. Like if it was like a street fight and you're in the fight to the death and you're trying to kill to protect your family, that's like something like that. Okay, I would understand that, you know? He's a 25-year-old man that's been training martial arts and has been around martial arts his whole life. It's sad, man. I mean, yeah, it's fucked up. And like, I feel bad for the dude that he did it to, you know? And it puts us back a little bit, you know, went viral and it makes us look like we're in like or something, because...
That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to drop your thoughts on this incident in the comments section. We'd love to hear your perspective.